Welcome viewers, I am Kamal Haynes. Today our top stories are as follow. 9 male prisoners arrested in relation to the recent stabbing death of inmate NICKAIL Chambers. Female officer interdicted from duty following allegations of obstruction. COI'S commissioner refutes leaked claims and orders investigation into leaked document. Minister's promise of more visits to the sister islands being delivered. 70% of arrivals into the BVI since December have been tourists. The BVI Football Association's youth program making positive strides. And last but not least, St.KITTS and NEVIS records its first COVID-19 death, with active cases now stands at 208. We will have a special guest joining us to update on the present situation in St.KITTS and NEVIS. But before we get to these stories, let's head to a quick commercial break.
What in the hell?
I'm freaking out!
Gender is about these people.
It's always a pleasure coming to you live and direct from the...
What's poppin'? What's really good? Davis has won it for the Lakers!
Welcome back viewers. We start with two breaking stories. 9 male prisoners have been arrested in relation to the recent stabbing death of inmate NICKAIL Chambers. This was revealed in a media release from the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force on Thursday, June 17. The release did not reveal the names of the arrested prisoners, but it said that the arrested males have not yet been charged. The May 30 incident, which took place at Her Majesty's Prison in Balsam Gut on Tortola, involved the now deceased Chambers, who was 29 years of age at the time, and 4 other inmates. But the police said they are continuing their investigations into the matter. Meanwhile, in an unrelated matter, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force has confirmed that one of their female officers has been interdicted from her duty for alleged obstruction while she was off duty. But this is according to a media release from the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force dated Thursday, June 17. The release did not reveal the name of the female officer, but said the announcement came from the Commissioner of Police, Mark Collins. Mark Collins reminded his officers and staff of the Code of Conduct and his expectation that professional standards will be adhered to at all times, but no charges have been laid in that matter. Well, now to news from the Commission of Inquiry. Well, Commissioner Sir Gary Hickenbottom has refuted claims published within a local news article which suggests that confidential information was leaked to news agency by senior officials of the Commission of Inquiry. Sir Hickenbottom also ordered an immediate investigations into the leak, which he termed to be a very serious breach of confidential information. Listen in to this report. On Wednesday, June 16, local news agency Virgin Islands News Online published an article entitled "COI Documents Reveal Turf War Between Ex-Governor Jasper and VI Government," which claimed that a 33-page statement was shared with their newsroom from senior sources within the COI. Sir Hickenbottom blasted the claims during the resumption of a live inquiry hearing on that said date, after the article was brought to his attention by the COI's counsel, Bilal Warat.
An article has been published online in Virgin Islands News Online, and its heading is "COI Document Reveals Turf War Between Ex-Governor Jasper and VI Government." The article refers to a 33-page statement which was shared with our newsroom by senior sources within the Commission of Inquiry, COI. That 33-page document is a reference to the position statement that was filed and served with the COI on behalf of elected ministers on the 1st of June 2021. That followed on your invitation to a number of individuals and entities to file position statements on the question of good governance or governance and law enforcement and justice.
Warat said the position papers were only shared with a handful of persons and said the leak would have had to come from one of the parties outside the COI team.
Prior to that date, it had been shared with 2 members of the House of Assembly who are represented by Silk Legal. The COI was informed of that on the 1st of June 2021. It has not yet been published by the COI, and save with one exception, which I will come to now, it has not otherwise been provided to any other participant or individual or body. What has occurred, and this was with the agreement of the Attorney General, was that you directed that the position statement be shared with the Governor's office. And the reason for that was something that I highlighted at the directions hearing on Monday, which was that the content of the position statement had raised issues that firstly required obtaining further disclosure from the elected ministers, but also putting those who were the subject of their criticisms on notice of the content of the document.
The Commissioner, while sharing the same sentiments of his counsel Rurat, instructed the Attorney General to submit to him by today, Thursday, June 17, a list of all persons who had access to the documents.
I've received comfort, as have you, that the leak did not emanate from anyone in this team. To that extent, this article is simply wrong. But that means that the leak must have come from somewhere else. And it must have come from someone who owes a duty of confidence to me as Commissioner in this inquiry. I take that extremely seriously. It's unfortunate that the Attorney General is not represented at the moment. I think this is the first time, this is pure coincidence, I think this is the first time that she has not been represented at one of these hearings. But I direct the Attorney General and the Governor's Office, to whom this document has been sent in the circumstances that you and I have outlined, to write to me by 9 a.m. tomorrow with a list of every single person who has had access to this document and identifying inquiries that they have made to ascertain who may have leaked this document.
The Commissioner said once he receives the letters from the Attorney General, he will make any further inquiries that he considers appropriate, and warned that going forward, the COI will be conducted on the basis of strict confidentiality. He added that all participants involved in the COI are obligated to maintain full confidentiality. Kamal Haynes reporting for 284 News. Switching topics, in keeping with the promise to increase visits to the sister islands of Jos Van Dyke and Anegada, the two islands are scheduled to receive visits from officers within the Department of Labor and Workforce Development. But this is according to a government commission media release on Wednesday, June 16, which revealed that both Jos Van Dyke and Anegada will be receiving visits from the officers of the Labor Protection and Labor Relations units. But the ministry said the visit will see officers conducting inspections and addressing any disputes that have been lodged by residents. Additionally, the officers will be tasked with the responsibility to record complaints voiced by all residents. The visits are in keeping with mandated practices following the launch of an initiative by Minister for Natural Resources, Labour and Immigration Vincent Wheatley. Wheatley had visited the sister islands in March, where he stated that over the years the sister islands have been neglected in these critical areas due to limited financial resources. But Wheatley said his March visit exposed the need for regular visits to those islands. Meanwhile, Deputy Commissioner of Labour Michelle McLean stated that after the scheduled visits for this month, the team will be again visiting the sister island in September. Well, coming up, 70% of arrivals in the BVI since December have been tourists. But before we get to that story, let's take a commercial break.
Is business slow, cash flow down, hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media at cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Welcome again, viewers. Approximately 70% of the almost 21,000 persons who reportedly entered the British Virgin Islands since the territory opened its borders to tourism in December 2020, have been tourists. Premier Andrew Foy, who is the Minister for Tourism, revealed those statistics on Tuesday, June 15, during a live tourism update on social media. The Premier stated that territory since December has received more than 20,500 persons and revealed that he expects the number to continue to grow daily.
At the Road Town Ferry Dock, which began receiving persons entering via the ferries from St. Thomas on 15 April 2021, approximately 5,000 arrivals were recorded in total. For the first 8 days of June alone, more than 1,600 arriving passengers were received in total. The vast majority of these persons were tourists, and their arrival would have translated into economic opportunities for taxi drivers, tour operators, charter companies, hotels and accommodations, restaurants, and our economy as a whole. And may I point out that for the entire month of May, arrivals at the seaport total just over 2,500 persons.
Premier Foy also updated the public on the latest statistics at the Beef Island Airport, stating that within the last 3 months, 80% of all arriving passengers at the airport have been tourists.
I'm pleased to say that the Terence B. Letsom International Airport has been receiving visitors since the beginning of December 2020. From December 2020 to May 2021, an average of 2,400 arrivals were recorded at the airport on a monthly basis. The total arrivals in May 2021 was 3,012 persons. But for the first 8 days of June, 1,225 arriving passengers have been received already at the airport. The trend over the past 6 months has been that upwards of 70% of arrivals have been tourists. In the last 3 months, the trend has been where tourists made up over 80% of all arriving passengers at the airport. This means that of the 15,460 plus persons who entered the BVI via the airport since December 2020, more than 11,500 of them were tourists. And for the first 8 days of June alone, about 1,000 tourists would have come into the BVI.
Premier Foy attributed the increase of arrivals due to the measures his government has taken over the last few months, which has seen a gradual easing of the conditions for entry into the territory. But these include the reduced fee on the BVI gateway application and the reduction in quarantine time for fully vaccinated persons. As of June 15, 2021, fully vaccinated persons no longer have to quarantine in the BVI once presented a negative COVID-19 PCR test or a rapid antigen test on arrival and a valid proof of their vaccination status. Switching to sports. The BVI Football Association's youth program has been making positive strides in the development of youth footballers here in the territory. But this is according to the BVI Football Association's president, Andy Bickerton, who made a statement during an interview with 284 Media earlier today, where Bickerton was speaking on the advancements made in youth football over the years.
We've been very happy with our youth program. We've invested a lot of money, both from sponsors and the FA, in the youth program. And we're starting to see the fruits of that in the games against Cuba and Curacao. We started with 5 teenagers on the team, 3 of which are high school students. So we're on the way. The problem now is we've got to keep that pathway going so that we keep younger players coming through. If we look down through our age groups at the under 15s, the under 13s and the under 11s, we are happy with the amount of talent that we've got coming through.
The president also addressed some of the challenges being faced in youth football, with the biggest being a deficiency in football knowledge when compared to other international countries. He said his organization plans to address this issue by having at least 60% of their youth footballers sent overseas to gain the needed experience.
Our big challenge really is in terms of football knowledge, because if you look at the players that played in both the windows, both in March and in June, and compared players that have been spending time in England or at the academy in England and the players of the same age that are still here in the BVI, you notice quite a difference in football knowledge. So our plan under our strategic plan, we have a 4-year strategic plan, is by 2024 we'll have 60% of our under-17s overseas. That is a lesson I think that the FA has learned from these windows, is that that is a must. We have to get our players playing at a higher.
Well, now to regional news. The Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis has recorded its first COVID-19 death after a dramatic spike in cases since late May. But this was confirmed by their Minister of Health, Akila Byron Nisbat, during a live press conference on Thursday, June 17. She said the death was reported to her office around midday on Thursday and revealed that the virus has now found its way into their prison. Well, she said, and I quote, "We wish to extend condolences to the family and loved ones of the dearly departed. We have repeatedly said we are not immune to the ravages of COVID-19, including severe disease and death. While we mourn the loss of our first citizen, my trust is that it will serve as a wake-up call for all." But the health minister also said that within the last 12 hours, the Federation has recorded 28 additional COVID-19 cases, with 26 coming from within the prison. But the total number of active COVID-19 cases in St. Kitts and Nevis now stands at 208 cases. Well, to give a live on-the-ground update of the COVID-19 situation in St. Kitts is our very own marketing manager, Ricky Richardson, who will be speaking on the present COVID-19 situation in St. Kitts and Nevis. Ricky is currently on the grounds in St. Kitts, which presents the perfect opportunity to enlighten residents here in the BVI on what exactly is taking place in that territory. Well, he is no stranger to St. Kitts since he grew up in the Haynes Smith Community Village area and resided in that country for some 25 years. And I have quite a few questions to ask, which I hope will paint a compelling issue to present the current situation in St. Kitts. But before we get to those questions, let's first take a brief commercial break.
Father Jesus, that line you long like church service.
Alright, do enjoy the rest of the day. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes, Sonny.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Hold on there. You must have cut front of people.
It's okay, I'll take care of it.
What? No man to take care of me.
How may I assist you? You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?
Welcome back, viewers. We have Ricky here in studio who is joining us live from St. Kitts and Nevis. Now let's get to the topic at hand. Well, since late May 2021, St. Kitts and Nevis has been seeing a spike in its COVID-19 cases, with St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service reporting its first COVID-19 death today, Thursday, June 17, and a total of 208 active cases. Well, this spike has resulted in the country presently undergoing a 14-day lockdown, which runs until Friday, June 26 in the first instance. In addition, the Governor-General of St. Kitts, Sir S.W. Tapley-Seton, activated a state of emergency on Tuesday, June 15, which expires also on June 26. Now, having experienced these recent developments, can you speak to the present atmosphere in St. Kitts?
Hey, Kamal, blessed afternoon. Well, the atmosphere right now in St. Kitts is pretty much something like what I've always been accustomed to when I come here. The people are still jovial, at least the people I have come in contact with. It's still a lot friendly. The only The only visible difference that I'm seeing is like in greeting people. So where I'm accustomed to like daps and hug and people like that is a lot of elbows. People are really doing a lot more the elbows. I would anticipate that there will be some change in the atmosphere, especially now that we have recorded the first death. But I'm not really out and about in the public to really see much. But I do anticipate that there might be some change in the atmosphere because of the death.
And how are residents coping with both the lockdown and the recent state of emergency?
Well, what I would say about that is that some people will cope better than others, because when you look at it, there are some people who can afford to carry out their regular daily routines and without while doing so within the restrictions. However, I've heard like some small business owners really speaking out, saying they're really feeling the pressure because they're not able to operate as they're accustomed to, so they're not able to make the money. So that's more or less how some people are coping with that. But I think from what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing on the radio, a lot of the small business owners are really trying to do their best to figure out how they would more or less make that extra dollar.
And that brings to my next question. Has the St. Kitts government implemented initiatives to assist residents who may need essential supplies?
Since I've been here, I really haven't heard much about that. However, today in the press briefing that they had, I see that it seems as if it was said that if you're in quarantine, like if you have family in quarantine and you really can't get any help, then you can call, I think it's 311. So you could get a care package. So I think that's the only thing that's being done right now based on what I've seen.
Now tell me, what are the do's and don'ts for residents during this lockdown and state of emergency?
Okay, so do's and don'ts. So you cannot come outside of your house between the hours of 6 p.m. in the evening to 5 a.m. in the morning. So you more or less are confined to your space. You can still come out to do like banking. If you have to get food, you have to get gas, you have to get groceries, if you have to go to a doctor, you can come out between the hours of 5:01 a.m. to 5:59 p.m. But this is only if you really need to come out. They're really encouraging people to stay at home as much as possible and only come out if you truly, really and truly need to come out to do something. But outside of that, you can't go to the beach. You can't have any mass gatherings. All retail liquor licenses have been suspended, so you really can't be at like the rum shops. You can't hang out as you more or less would have been accustomed to hang out. Weddings and funerals can't have more than 10 persons, and they can be no longer than 60 minutes long for weddings and funerals. So that's more or less some of the do's and don'ts going on right here right now.
And to your knowledge, do you find that residents are complying with these requirements?
For the most part, I would say yes and no, because when I came first and I got out of quarantine, I'm fully vaccinated, so I did the 9-day quarantine. When I went around, I would see majority of the people wearing masks. There will be like maybe a 1 or 2 that might just not be complying, but it's like it's not a significant amount of people from what I observed. So
and you would have experienced. Okay, sorry.
Most people have been, yeah.
Okay, and you would have experienced the lockdowns in the BVI in 2020. Now, how does the lockdown in St. Kitts compare or differ to that of the BVIs?
Well, to me, the lockdown in that I experienced in BVI and here, it's pretty similar because where in the BVI, I actually had to go through the period when we just could not leave the house at all. And then we went into the period where you could only leave to, and when you could only leave to get certain things because only certain businesses were open. So the curfew right now, as we're calling it, the curf lock or the lock few, it's still similar where you have certain businesses open and you only really can move if you really need to move. So it's not that much of a difference. And going through it in Tartola kind of more or less prepared me for what I'm experiencing now too. So it's not much different at all.
Well, the Chief Medical Officer of St. Kitts, Dr. Hazel Laws, said her Ministry of Health has implemented 4 robust measures to safeguard the general public and to help contain the present COVID-19 outbreak. Well, these include contact tracing, COVID-19 testing, vaccination, and restriction of movement. Well, firstly, has the health officials declared community spread of the virus? And where are the prominent areas of this community spread if it has been declared?
Well, yes, they definitely have declared it a community spread. However, there has been no specific pinpointing to give an indication to say it's prominent in this area or that area.
Okay. And with St. Kitts having a mandatory 14-day quarantine period for non-vaccinated persons and 9 for vaccinated, for all incoming passengers, have the officials revealed whether the spike is linked to an inbound traveler?
That's an interesting question, because the contact tracing that they have done since I came here has revealed certain things. Like from my memory, I know case number 46, if memory serves me right, was from somebody in the hotel industry. And from getting that case, then they had 3 additional cases. And then case number 50 now was inbound traveler who has been in the territory since May 9th. So we're looking at May 9th, somebody is here, and that person must have gotten tested like somewhere, I think it was around May 23rd or so, and then they discovered that that inbound traveler had COVID. So between the 9th and the 23rd, you could just imagine, well, this person has already been a bunch of different places. So you could kind of make an assumption in a sense there.
And have been persons, well, I should ask firstly, how have government been doing in terms of contact tracing efforts? And are persons forthcoming in terms of voluntarily going to the respective testing facilities to be tested for COVID?
In terms of the contact tracing efforts, I think the government has really been doing a good job in terms of pinpointing exactly where everybody is who has it, and doing the testing and what's not. I mean, as I was just alluding to, where the 46 case came from somebody that was in the hotel industry, then they tested more people, and they found the case number 50 was the inbound passenger. Now, memory serves me right again. So with the contact tracing that they did, case 51 and 52 were discovered to be nationals, and they were linked now to case number 49. So the contact tracing that the government and all the officials are doing, I think it's really kind of working to kind of help to do the job to figure out where it is and to contain it. So I think they're doing what they have to do in that instance. As it relates to people being forthcoming to get tested, I really can't say much about that. What I do know is that they have set up, I think it's a drive-through COVID testing at the JNF General Hospital, so people can more or less just come and get tested if they feel like they have been exposed.
Well, due to limited time, I believe this will be my final question. You know, St. Kitts and NEVIS statistics states that about 10,255 persons have been fully vaccinated. Can you speak based on your observation as you are on the grounds to the reception of residents on getting vaccine? How are residents in terms of being vaccinated?
Well, I mean, it's similar to what I'm seeing in the BVI, because you have your people who are for the vaccinations, and then you have your people who are against the vaccination. So it's like, it's a constant back and forth with some people really think that, yes, I need to go get my vaccination. Some people think like, no, I do not need to go get a vaccination, because even if I get the vaccination, I can still get COVID. So it's just a similar back and forth with the differences. So we are currently at, I think it's around 67%. As you know, they're trying to do the 70% of the population with the herd immunity. So they are currently at 67, somewhere around a percent with the first dosage. And they're still encouraging people to come and get vaccinated, because I think the batch that they have now, the first batch, is going to be expiring at the end of June. So they are doing a lot of promotion. You see a lot of like artists and media hosts and different businesses encouraging people to go get vaccinated and what's not. So yeah.
Well, I pray for St. Kitts and NEVIS that they get this COVID situation sorted. And I want to take the time out to wish you and your loved ones over there all the best during these difficult times. I'll thank you, Ricky, for taking this time to join us here in the studio.
No problem, man.
Well, there you have it, viewers. A comprehensive view of the present situation in St. Kitts and NEVIS as they battle with the COVID-19 spike. Until next time, viewers, thanks for joining us. Tune into our 284 Media Newscast tomorrow, Friday, June 18th. It's been my pleasure and my pleasure from my viewers. Well, thank you and have a good night.